You are tuned to the Folk Music Notebook, streaming folk songs 24/7.
Welcome to Folk Music Notebook's Artist in Residence Showcase. Each week at this time, we shine a spotlight on an outstanding singer-songwriter or group from our folk community as they share an exclusive performance for our Folk Music Notebook audience. Today's guest is George Mann. George is a former union organizer, and he's an activist based out of Ithaca, New York. And his song bag includes songs from the past century's powerful labor and social justice movements, plus his own original and often funny takes on the state of the nation. Now, if you attend one of his concerts, you'll be treated to a combination of sing-along, history lesson, and music that'll make you shout for joy and stir your soul. George often conducts historical and educational workshops and concert presentations on folk music, labor and social history, and much more. We are honored to welcome to this week's Artist in Residence Showcase, George Mann.
Well, hello and welcome. This is George Mann from Ithaca, New York, and thanks, Ron, for having me on the Folk Music Notebook Showcase. I've been making music. I'm living up in Ithaca for about 12 years now since I left New York City. And I'm going to do a couple from my home studio, my home music room, I guess you'd call it, and also a couple of videos, live videos that I recorded at the studio where I record. Wilburland, a beautiful old church that Will Russell made into a studio some 20 years ago, just outside of Ithaca, New York. And the first song we're going to do is a wobbly song because May Day is coming, and this is a song called "We Have Fed You All for 1,000 Years." We fed you all for 1,000 years, but you held us still unfed. Though there's never a dollar of all your wealth, but marks the workers dead. We have yielded our best to give you rest, and you lie on crimson wool. But if blood be the price of all your wealth, good God, we have paid it in full. Well, there's never a mine blown skyward now, we're buried alive for you. There's never a wreck drift shoreward now, but we are its ghastly crew. Go reckon our dead by the forges red and the factories where we spin. But if blood be the price of your cursed wealth, good God, we have paid it in. We have yielded our best to give you rest, and you lie on crimson wool. But if blood be the price of all your wealth, good God, we have paid it in full. We have fed you all for 1,000 years, but that was our doom, you know. From the days when you chained us in your fields to the strike of a week ago. You've taken our lives and our babies and wives. We're told it's your legal share. But if blood be the price of your lawful wealth, good God, we have bought it fair. Yeah, if blood be the price of your lawful wealth, good God, we have bought it fair. And now you're going to see two videos of live performances I mentioned. The first is a song called "The Bottle Wins Each Time," which was on my 2020 album, The Coronavirus Sessions. And the second will feature some of the musicians that have worked with me on the last few albums. It's a song called "Maybe Next Year," and that's from the new album called "A World Like This." been out the whole night searching. High beams on and windows down, cruising Christmas Eve with a sleeping kid strapped in the backseat through all the seedy parts of town. Found her huddled in an old car, back behind the auto shop. Brought her home to warm her up over the holiday, but the shaking wouldn't stop. And though he thinks he sees a glimpse of memory in her eyes, she keeps looking to the door. Whole bag is in the corner, shoes and jacket on the floor. Even the pure love of a child can't contain her anymore. When that leaving look gets in her eyes, you know that she's made up her mind. If you give her the chance to choose, the bottle wins each time. The bottle wins each time. No point to try and reason, it always ends the same. So we brought a ticket back to Frisco. She's going on the midnight train, and though he thinks he sees the glimpse of memory in her eyes, keeps looking to the door. Whole bag is in the corner, shoes and jacket on the floor. Even the pure love of a child can't contain her anymore. When that leaving look gets in her eyes, you know that she's made up her mind. You always lose if you give her the chance to choose. The bottle wins each time. The bottle wins each time. Nothing is working. I think they lie. Nothing is working anymore. Keep me satisfied. And I can't believe it. Oh, how we tried. Yeah, we did, but nothing's been working for a while. Out in the garden, I keep pulling up weeds. 10 days without rain, this cracked earth will not bleed. If I could, I'd drown it. This reservoir of tears. Maybe I'll see you next year, 'cause you know that I wanna go far away from here where the cool winds blowing. You're by my side. With all this reflection and the time apart, I wonder if you're gonna have a change of heart and leave me behind. This reservoir of beer. Maybe I'll see you, maybe next year. Maybe I'll see you. Thank you, Ron, again, and thank you to Folk Music Notebook for all the work you do, keeping folk music alive, keeping the music of our elders alive, and helping present original music by folks like me. My name is George Mann, M-A-N-N. I'm out of Ithaca, New York, and you can find me at www.georgemannmusic.com. I'm on YouTube with plenty of videos and most of the streaming services except for Spotify, of course. And on May Day, I'm going to be at the Botto House, the American Labor Museum, just outside Paterson, New Jersey, where I've been for 21 of the last 22 May Days, singing the May Day concert there. And I'm going to sing, among the songs we'll be singing will be this one by Cy Khan, a beautiful song that Cy wrote called They All Sang Bread and Roses. Thank you and happy May Day to you all. Here's They All Sang Bread and Roses. Now don't you think it's crazy, this whole world and its ways? Whoever thought the 60s would be called the good old days? But like the Weaver sang to us, wasn't that a time when we raised our hands and voices on the line? And we all sang Bread and Roses, Joe Hill and Union Maid. We linked our arms and told each other we are not afraid. Solidarity forever would go rolling through the hall. We shall overcome together, one and all. The more I study history, the more I seem to find that in every generation There were times just like that time when folks like you and me who thought that they were all alone in this honored movement found a home. And they all sang Bread and Roses, Joe Hill and Union May. They linked their arms and told each other, we are not afraid. Solidarity forever would go rolling through the hall. We shall overcome together, one and all. And though each generation fears that it may be the last, our presence here is witness to the power of the past. And just as we have drawn our strength from those who now are gone, younger hands will take our work and carry on. And they'll all sing Bread and Roses, Joe Hill and Union May. They'll link their arms and tell each other, we are not afraid. Solidarity forever will go rolling through the hall. We shall overcome together, one and all. We shall overcome together, one and all.
You have been listening to George Mann on this week's Artist in Residence Showcase here on Folk Music Notebook. We thank George for joining us today, and we thank you for listening. To find out more about George and his latest CD, please visit his website at georgemannmusic.com. And I'd also like to invite artists who are interested in being part of this series to contact me at ron@folkmusicnotebook.com, and I'll send you some details. Join us again next week at this time for another Artist in Residence Showcase, and check our website for a list of encore broadcasts. This is Folk Music Notebook, your virtual folk festival, 24 hours a day.
You are tuned to the Folk Music Notebook, streaming folk songs 24/7.